So here we're going to look at creating a web scraper. Now we could go to the npm library here and just put in web scraper, and we have a plethora of web scrapers here. Now if that's what you're going to do, go away and use a web scraper. But in this tutorial, we're going to look at how we can actually create one. You can then take this further to scrape different websites and different content. And then from there, you might actually be able to publish your own npm library. I'll have a link in the top here of how you can do that. And you can actually help other people with web scraping as well. So let's jump into our web scraping folder here. Let's create a new file called index.js. And then once we're inside of here, let's import a couple of default packages from JavaScript. So the first one is HTTP. So we say const HTTP is going to be equal to require HTTP. And then we'll import HTTPS. And that will be equal to require HTTPS. And underneath here, we want to give a new constant for our URL. And I'm going to use my website for this, which is codingnexus.co.uk. I'm just going to paste that into here. Then we need to establish the protocol. To do this, we do const protocol. And that will be equal to a URL.startWith. So we're going to check the URL and see whether it starts with HTTPS. If it starts with HTTPS, we want to use the HTTPS library. Otherwise, we're going to use the HTTP. So once we've done that, we can actually start looking at getting our data. So to do this, we do protocol.get. We inject the URL here as a parameter. That passes back a callback with the response. And then inside of here, we can actually start looking at looping over this data and then passing it out to a file. So we've got access to that for any data manipulation we need to do. So let's start off by creating a let with data, and that's going to be equal to an empty string. And then we need to say response.on, and we want to check to see if we've received data. If we've received data, let's create another function, and we're going to have a chunk in here, and that's going to be a chunk of data. And then inside that callback, what we want to do is we want to append this chunk here onto this data here. So it should come back with a string of long data that we can go over. So once the response is finished, we can run response.on and then end. Then we can create a new arrow function here. This won't take any parameters in because this is going to be using this data we have up here. And we're going to run a const links, and that's going to be equal to, so we're going to create another function in a minute called extract links. And that's going to be passing in the data that we have from here. And then once we've done that, we can console.log the links. And also write the files to some sort of file. So to do this, we need to actually import fs. So const fs is equal to require fs. And then down here, we can say fs.append file sync, and then the file that we want to create, which in this case will be output.txt, and then the data we want to go in there. If we just pass links, that's just going to give us one long string of links. So rather than doing that, let's create a for loop here. So for let I is equal to 0, I is less than links dot length, then I plus plus. And then we can change this fs append to fs append links I. And then once we've done that, at the bottom of this protocol.get, we can just append onto here, end, and that will close the connection for us. So now we need to create that function that I was talking about, which is extract links. That's going to take some HTML in as a parameter, and then we'll need to create a regex on this. Got to close this response on here. So if we come down to 23, you can have a new line, and then we just close off this response on here. That should now close this protocol.get. So inside the function extract links, let's create a regex. And I'm just going to copy this over. I'll explain what's happening. So here what we're going to do is we're going to look at any A tags inside the HTML, and then we're going to split it by the href and get the content that's inside of that href tag. And underneath here we can say const links, and that will be equal to an empty array. We can say let match. We need to create a while loop. I'm going to say while the match is equal to the regex.exec, and then we're going to pass in that HTML. And then we're going to say after this, so after the second bracket here, we're going to say is not equal to null. And then we put our curly brackets in. What we want to do is we want to push this match into the links here. So we're taking the third item, which is the indicated by the 2 here, from match. We're going to inject that into the links array. And then we can just return links. We can close that off. So that's everything we need to do for this. So what we can do is let's open up a new terminal window. Let's cd into our web scraper project and we can run node dot. So I'm getting an error here. Unexpected token here. So inside the for loop, I unfortunately put a comma instead of a semicolon. So let's rerun this. And here we can see we have all of our links. Open up this file here. You can see we have all of them here. Now, these aren't on new lines. If we go back to our index.js file here, this links part here, if we have an add on the end of there, open up a new string and have /n. When we click save, let's delete this output.txt file, click delete. Let's rerun this. That should now have all of them on their own separate line. So this is a great way of getting information from a website, whether it be links or, for example, you can target anything else you want here. So this A tag can be changed to anything like divs or images. It's a great way of gathering information, not only for data science, but also for something as simple as creating a sitemap for your website. This can be taken a lot further. If you'd like to see it taken a lot further, please leave a comment below. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe and like button. And also check out this playlist on screen now where you can find all the rest of these tools. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.